Welcome to Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelor season 26. The newest Bachelor for 2022 is 28-year-old Clayton Echard, a medical sales rep from Eureka, Missouri, who apparently played a little bit for the NFL. Also, we have a new host, former Bachelor number 5, Jesse Palmer, who was the Bachelor way back in 2004 and who also played in the NFL, which it seems like the NFL community is taking over the Bachelor franchise. And one of the most exciting things about this newest season of The Bachelor is the cast and crew are back at the iconic Bachelor Mansion located in the Malibu Hills, where Clayton is ready to meet 30 women from all over the nation to compete for his love. But before we start with night one introductions of the women, we start this season off with a strange and unusual situation. Sally, who I guess doesn't count as one of the 30 women, is introduced as previously engaged and was supposedly supposed to get married the same weekend as when The Bachelor starts. Sally is unsure if she is ready to find love again so soon after breaking off with her former fiance, so she heads to Clayton's room before night one begins and knocks on his door. Clayton opens the door and is quickly introduced to Sally. Sally then explains why she is here and tells him her feelings about staying on the show and why she is unsure about staying. Clayton listens as best as he can, but he admits that he already has and feels a connection to Sally and tells her to just wait a moment. He comes back with a rose and encourages her to stay and see if they can build on their instant connection. Sally is taken aback. She was so sure she was going to leave and tells Clayton that she needs a minute to decide. She steps out and is completely conflicted about what just occurred, but eventually she heads back in and tells Clayton that she cannot accept this rose because her heart is just not ready to find love again so soon after her unsuccessful engagement. And just like that, Clayton's first rose is rejected. But that doesn't get him down. It only solidifies his want and need to find his person and is hopeful that he will propose at the end of his journey to find love. Well, after Sally leaves, Clayton heads to the Bachelor Mansion to meet up with new host Jesse Palmer, who is excited for Clayton to start his journey to find the woman of his dreams and hopefully his future wife. Jesse tells Clayton that 30 women are arriving to meet him, and Clayton is so ready that he yells into the ether about his excitement, which isn't unusual if you've seen him on Michelle's season of The Bachelorette. The first limo arrives, and the first woman to step out of it is Sarah, a wealth management advisor from New York. Next is Lyndsey W, an industrial sales rep from Texas, and so far so good with the introductions, as the early ones are calm and collected and pretty low-key. Susie, a wedding photographer from Virginia, gives Clayton a little shock, and overall Clayton is impressed with the first women he has met so far, and even heads in to say he is so excited already, and tells the first group of women that he has a huge smile on his face. But with the low-key introductions out of the way, it's time to kick it up a notch. Kate, a real estate agent from California, offers Clayton a shot of alcohol, and they take it together, which has the first group of women concerned that they didn't do enough to stand out. More quirky introductions are seen, with one woman coming in with moon shoes, another asking Clayton to open a jar of pickles, a woman who shows up with the ashes of her ex-boyfriends. Then something strange happens again, and an older woman named Holly shows up, who isn't there for Clayton and plugs the senior edition of The Bachelor show in the future, and then turns and introduces another contestant, Rachel, who is a flight instructor from Florida and makes a great first impression on Clayton. But even more women show up to compete for Clayton's heart. There is Dr. Kira, who shows up wearing her white coat and some lingerie, Rihanna showing up wearing a cowboy hat, Gabby, who shows Clayton a pillow she has of his face, Hunter, who shows up with a snake, and Samantha, who was wheeled in by production in a bathtub. And also a woman named Cassidy, who shows up in a toy car, who then is immediately overshadowed by Shanann, who drives up in a monster truck and hits the toy car. And when Clayton has met all 30 women ready to compete for his love, he tells host Jesse Palmer that he does believe his wife is in there, and he is again ready and so excited to start his journey to find love. Clayton comes in to address the 30 women that have come all over the nation to meet him, and he admits that he is pretty nervous, even spilling his drink, but tells the women that he is ready to propose at the end of the journey, which gets everyone all excited and pretty antsy because, watch out, Clayton wants to propose already. But night one has a different pressure, and that is to make a good impression on Clayton and hopefully get that first impression rose. The first woman to talk to Clayton is Susie, and they immediately hit it off, both talking about how excited they are about each other. Next to talk to him is Elizabeth, a real estate advisor from Colorado who makes a bold move and gives Clayton an 100-year-old picture of her grandparents from Sweden and tells him that she wants him to keep it all in the name of finding true love. After Elizabeth, Clayton talks to Teddi, a surgical unit nurse from California, and immediately they connect. Teddi tells Clayton that out of all Michelle's men, she was drawn to him and even told her sister that she had her eye on him. And there is an instant spark between the two of them, and they share an intense kiss, which just happens to be the first of the night. And unsurprisingly, the other women of the house see Teddi and Clayton kissing, and it immediately changes the mood of the night to ultra competitive, with Claire saying to the other women, "Game on, bitches." Next up to make a grand impression is Dr. Kira, a physician from Pennsylvania who gives Clayton a physical, and they end up sharing a kiss. Another early connection is shared with Eliza, a marketing manager from Germany, and Eliza asks Clayton if she can kiss him in German, and Clayton says yes. Then, all of a sudden, Jesse Palmer comes in with the first impression rose, which again electrifies the women to step up their game. Cassidy, an executive assistant from California, rides in toy cars with Clayton, and they end up sharing a kiss. But there is already some drama brewing. Claire, a spray tanner from Virginia, is seen playing cornhole with Clayton and having a tailgate. But other women want that time with him, and so Mara comes in to steal Clayton away. But this situation becomes a tug of war for Clayton's attention. But Clayton eventually goes with Mara, and this leaves Claire a little annoyed. Claire then goes about telling anyone and everyone that she has no chemistry with Clayton and that she actually hates him, and how she isn't compatible with America's sweetheart, which ruffles the feathers of the other women. And eventually Serene, an elementary school teacher from Oklahoma, tells Clayton what Claire has been saying about him to everyone in the house. Clayton then asks to talk to Claire and confronts her about what she has been saying and asks her about the hate comment. Claire denies hating him, but says they haven't clicked, and next thing we know, Clayton is walking Claire out, which leaves us already with 29 women remaining. Clayton comes back after sending Claire home and asks the other women if anyone else would like to leave, and it seems that Clayton is taking a Michelle-like approach and not messing around with drama starters, and ultimately it seems like everyone else is here for Clayton as nobody leaves and the night continues. Clayton asks to talk to Genevieve, a bartender from Los Angeles, and they connect over how long their parents have been together. And she reassures Clayton that there are women who want to get to know him and are excited about him as the Bachelor. Next up is Rachel, the flight instructor from Florida, who makes a great impression on Clayton, and they make a pact to go skydiving together eventually, and they end up kissing. But then it's time for Clayton to give out his first impression rose, and he chooses Teddi. He pulls Teddi aside, and before he even gives it to her, she kisses him. And Clayton tells her that he is so excited about her and how they can develop and deepen their relationship. And with that, Teddi has received Clayton's first impression rose, which secures her a spot for week 2, making her safe for the upcoming rose ceremony. Jesse Palmer comes in and announces to the women that it's time for the first rose ceremony. And it looks like it's the early morning hours before they begin because the sun has risen. And then Clayton walks in and thanks the women for showing up to meet him, but he, of course, has to follow his heart in his journey to ultimately find love. With Teddi safe, Clayton calls out the following women in order, securing them a spot for week 2. First up is Serene. Next is Susie. Then Eliza, Rachel, Incy, Sarah, Kate, Cassidy, Elizabeth, Dr. Kira, Shanae, Sierra, Mara, Marlena, Genevieve, Melina, Gabby, Jill, Lyndsey W, Hunter and her snake, and the last rose goes to Tessa, a human resource specialist from Connecticut. 22 women remain. Night 1 exits are Daria, Haley, Ivana, the woman that didn't even introduce herself to Clayton, Jane, a self-proclaimed cougar at the age of 33, Lyndsey D, Rihanna, and Samantha, the woman who showed up in a bathtub. And with that, another season of The Bachelor begins with Clayton as the newest lead. Thank you so much for watching Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelor Season 26, Episode 1, the premiere. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to Whitney Alex Works for more videos in the future. See you soon for the next episode where the drama and backstabbing is just getting started.